The people getting the most value from AI are always the ones using the most AI tools. They are not necessarily testing every new model, every browser extension, every agent platform, or every prompt trick. They are doing something simpler and much more valuable. They are turning AI into a repeatable process. That difference sounds small, but it changes the entire way work gets done. A tool helps you complete one task, a workflow helps you produce a result again and again. And this is where many creators, marketers, freelancers, SEO professionals, and online business owners are getting stuck. They try ChatGPT for writing, they try Claude for long-form thinking, they try Gemini for brainstorming, they try Perplexity for research. Then they add automation tools, spreadsheets, SEO platforms, email tools, content calendars, and browser extensions. For a while, it feels like progress. The work feels faster, the answers come quicker, the drafts appear instantly, but after a few weeks, the same problem returns. The research is still scattered, the content still needs heavy editing, the output still sounds generic, the automation breaks when one input changes, and the business still depends on someone manually connecting everything together. That is the hidden problem. AI tools can be powerful, but individual tools do not automatically create leverage. The real value is not the tool itself, it is the system behind it. This matters now because AI work is moving beyond single prompts. For the first phase of generative AI, most people used AI like a chatbot. Ask a question, get an answer, rewrite the answer, ask again. That was useful, but it was limited. Now the shift is different. AI is being connected to files, calendars, browsers, websites, email inboxes, databases, code, SEO tools, publishing systems, and internal knowledge. Instead of only generating text, AI can now sit inside a larger chain of work. It can help research, organize, compare, draft, classify, summarize, and prepare the next step. That changes the main question. The question is no longer only, which AI tool gives the best answer? The better question is, which workflow produces the best outcome with the least waste? For a creator, that outcome might be a researched YouTube script. For an SEO professional, it might be a content brief that can survive fact-checking. For a freelancer, it might be a repeatable client delivery system. For an online business owner, it might be a marketing process that moves from customer research to landing page copy to email follow-up, and that is why the timing matters. The AI market is crowded. Every week, there seems to be a new tool promising faster writing, smarter search, better automation, or more capable agents. But most tools solve only one part of the process. They do not solve the full chain. And most real work is a chain. Research has to become strategy. Strategy has to become content. Content has to become distribution. Distribution creates feedback. And feedback should improve the next version. This is where the workflow changes. The advantage is no longer us having access to AI. Almost everyone has access now. The advantage is knowing how to design the sequence. In the old way, work was manual and fragmented. If you were doing SEO research, you searched Google, opened tabs, copied notes, checked competitors, studied headings, guessed search intent, and built a brief by hand. If you were writing a YouTube script, you watched competing videos, scanned comments, compared titles, looked at thumbnails, studied audience pain points, and tried to turn all of that into a strong angle. If you were repurposing content, you manually turned a long video or article into posts, emails, shorts, carousels, and newsletter ideas. If you were running a freelance service, you often built every client delivery from scratch. The problem was not only that the work was slow. The deeper problem was that the process lived inside your head. Every step depended on memory, attention, and manual effort. And when the workload increased, quality became harder to maintain. AI changes that, but not in the way people often assume. It does not remove the need for thinking. It changes where the thinking happens. Instead of spending all your energy collecting and formatting information, you spend more energy designing the process, judging the output, and improving the system. A workflow is a repeatable process that moves from input to outcome. It is not just a prompt. It is not just a tool stack. It is not just automation. A real AI workflow defines what happens first, what happens next, what information is needed, what the AI should do, what the human should review, and what output is good enough to use. A weak workflow looks like this. Open ChatGPT. Ask it to write an article. Copy the result, edit it manually, publish it. Hope it works. A stronger workflow looks very different. Start with the audience problem. Collect research. Analyze competing content. Identify common angles and missing gaps. Build a brief. Create an outline. Draft section by section. Check claims. Rewrite for voice. Review for usefulness. Then publish or repurpose. The AI tool is involved, but it is not the whole system. That is the key difference. A tool performs a function. A workflow controls the process, and professional work is usually not one action. It is a sequence of decisions. A strong AI workflow has 4 layers. The first layer is input. This is the raw material. It could be a keyword, a customer question, a YouTube topic, a competitor page, a product description, a meeting transcript, an email thread, a spreadsheet, or a set of source links. Bad inputs create bad workflows. If the input is vague, the AI has to guess. And when AI guesses, the output may sound confident while still being wrong, generic, or unusable. The second layer is processing. This is where AI helps do the work, but the work should be split into clear steps. Research is not the same as outlining. Outlining is not the same as writing. Writing is not the same as editing. Editing is not the same as fact-checking. Fact-checking is not the same as publishing. When one prompt tries to do everything, the result is usually shallow. When the task is divided into stages, the output becomes easier to control. The third layer is human judgment. This is the part many people misunderstand. Human review is not a weakness in the workflow. It is part of the workflow. AI can summarize, compare, draft, classify, and suggest. But the human still decides what matters, what is credible, what fits the brand, what should be removed, and what should not be automated. Before you try this, there is one major limitation. AI can produce fluent output before it produces correct output. That means a workflow needs checkpoints. Source checks, logic checks, brand checks, privacy checks. Final review. The fourth layer is output. This is the business result, a published article, a video script, a client report, a sales email, a content calendar, a research brief, a product page, a database update. A workflow is only useful if the output is usable. Not just impressive, usable. That distinction matters because a demo can look amazing in 5 minutes. A workflow has to survive repeated use. Look at SEO research. The old process was slow and scattered. You searched keywords, opened competing pages, checked search intent, studied headings, compared content gaps, and built a brief manually. An AI workflow can help by clustering ideas, summarizing pages, extracting intent patterns, comparing angles, and turning scattered notes into a structured brief. But it does not remove SEO judgment. You still have to verify whether the intent is correct. You still have to check whether the information is current. You still have to decide whether the keyword is worth targeting. And you still have to avoid publishing content that only repeats what everyone else already said. The realistic benefit is not that AI does SEO for you. The realistic benefit is that AI helps you move from scattered research to a cleaner brief faster. The same applies to YouTube research. The old process was manual. You watched videos, scanned comments, compared titles, looked at thumbnails, studied audience pain points, and tried to find a strong script angle. An AI workflow can organize that process. It can summarize competitor positioning. It can extract recurring viewer questions. It can compare hooks. It can help structure a script around tension, stakes, and payoff. But it cannot fully know your audience taste. It cannot guarantee retention. It cannot replace editorial instinct. The benefit is a stronger research base, not an automatic viral video. For content repurposing, the workflow advantage becomes even clearer. The old process was taking one long asset and manually turning it into smaller pieces. A workflow can break a long video, article, or transcript into key ideas. It can adapt those ideas into posts, emails, shorts, carousels, or newsletter drafts. It can create variations for different platforms. But the human still has to check context. A strong idea in a long video can become misleading if it is cut into a short post without enough explanation. So AI can help scale the transformation, while the human protects the meaning. For freelancers, workflows can become service products. Instead of selling random AI-generated tasks, a freelancer can build a repeatable delivery system, a research-to-brief workflow, a podcast-to-newsletter workflow, a local SEO content workflow, a lead magnet workflow, a client onboarding workflow. This matters because clients usually do not want AI output. They want a business result. They want more consistent content, better research, faster delivery, cleaner operations, and fewer missteps. A freelancer who understands workflows can use AI behind the scenes without making the service feel cheap or generic. For automation builders, the lesson is even more important. Automation is not just connecting apps. A bad automation moves bad information faster. A good workflow defines what should happen, when it should happen, what data is required, what happens if something fails, and where a human approval step belongs. This is why agent workflows are interesting, but also risky. An agent that can take action is only useful if the task is clear, the permissions are controlled, and the review points are designed. Without that, you do not have automation, you have uncontrolled delegation. Compared with manual work, AI workflows are faster at collecting, transforming, and organizing information. They are especially useful when the task has repeated patterns, research summaries, content briefs, draft outlines, customer question analysis, transcript repurposing, competitor comparison, email classification, and internal documentation. But manual work still has advantages. Humans are better at context, taste, risk, brand nuance, and knowing what not to say. A human can sense when an answer is technically correct but strategically wrong. A human can decide that a topic is not worth publishing, even if the research looks attractive. Compared with Google search, AI workflows are better at synthesis. Google gives you sources. AI can help compare those sources, extract themes, and turn them into a structured next step. But Google search still matters because AI answers can be incomplete, outdated, or wrong. AI search changes discovery, but it does not eliminate verification. Compared with Perplexity, a workflow is broader. Perplexity can be useful for answer-first research and source discovery. But a full workflow may include research, source review, outline creation, drafting, editing, repurposing, and publishing. Perplexity can be one step inside the workflow. It is not the entire operating system. Compared with ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, the same rule applies. Each model may have different strengths. One may be better for brainstorming. One may be better for long-form drafting. One may fit better inside a certain ecosystem. One may work better with certain files or integrations. But choosing a model is not the same as designing a workflow. A weak process with a strong model still produces inconsistent results. A strong process can often use different models depending on the task. That is the balance view. The tools are improving. The models are improving. Agent systems are becoming more capable. But the hard part is not just access, the hard part is implementation. The biggest mistake is thinking a workflow means removing the human. That is usually wrong. A good workflow removes unnecessary manual effort. It does not remove responsibility. If AI writes a legal claim, health claim, financial claim, product claim, or technical explanation, someone still has to verify it. If AI summarizes a source, someone still has to check whether the source is credible. If AI creates SEO content, someone still has to make sure it is actually useful and not just polished repetition. Another risk is outdated information. AI models may not know the latest changes unless they are connected to current sources. Even when they are connected, they can still miss details or misread context. This matters for SEO, software tools, platform rules, pricing, regulations, and anything that changes quickly. There is also a privacy risk. The more powerful the workflow, the more access it may need: files, emails, customer data, analytics, internal documents, and publishing tools. That access can create real problems if it is not controlled. Do not give an AI system more access than it needs. Do not automate actions that require judgment. Do not connect sensitive data unless the risk is understood. Another limitation is generic output. AI workflows can make content production faster. But if everyone uses the same process, the internet gets flooded with similar content. The advantage then moves back to original insight, real examples, clear positioning, better research, stronger opinions, audience understanding. A workflow should amplify your thinking, not replace it with average thinking. And finally, there is the risk of overbuilding. Some people create complicated AI systems before they understand the work. They connect 10 tools, build dashboards, create automations, and call it a workflow. But the result is fragile. It breaks when one input changes. It creates more maintenance than value, and it may slow the work down instead of improving it. The better approach is simple. Start with one repeatable business outcome. Map the manual process. Find the slowest step. Use AI there first. Add automation only after the process works. The future of AI work will not be won by people who chase every new tool. It will be shaped by people who understand systems. Because tools change, models change, interfaces change, search changes, agent platforms change, but workflows become the durable advantage. A creator with a strong research workflow can make better videos faster. A marketer with a strong campaign workflow can test ideas more consistently. An SEO professional with a strong brief workflow can avoid generic content and focus on intent. A freelancer with a strong delivery workflow can serve clients with more reliability. An automation builder with a strong process mindset can create systems that survive real use. That is the real shift. AI is not just making individual tasks faster. It is forcing people to rethink how work is designed, so the practical action is simple. Pick one task you repeat every week. Do not start by asking, which AI tool should I use? Ask a better question. What is the input? What is the desired output? What steps happen in between? Where does AI help? Where does human judgment matter? Where can errors enter the system? Where should final review happen? Once you answer that, you are no longer just using AI, you are building an AI workflow. And that is why workflows beat individual tools.